I'm going to take some questions. I hear you have a project coming up that I might be able to give you some thoughts on, some advice. So anything I can do to help you get good grades, I'm all for that. For those of you, why don't we do this? Oh wait, where was that video? Hold on one second, I'm looking for a certain video. Have I come across any of your For You pages before? Has anyone seen me yet? Okay, sweet. For those who haven't, no problem at all. I'll give you a quick example of the kind of stuff that I do on social media. Where is the other screen? There we go. Here's a quick example of a video I had that went viral recently. I got invited to a wedding at Chuck E. Cheese in Everett, and how could I say no? So here's what happened. Years ago, Chuck E. Cheese posted an April Fool's joke that they now host weddings.
And it's like, Chuck E. Cheese, where the mouse can make you a spouse.
That's where Leilani and Kwai Lee come in, a couple MIT grads living in Somerville.
She brings me out of my box, for example, with this wedding.
Which wasn't really supposed to happen.
Oh, our lawyers from corporate want to tell you that this is April Fool's joke.
But Leilani was like, we're doing this for real.
I was like, hello, I heard that you guys do weddings now, and they were like, I'm gonna need to put you on hold. And then it was a long hold, and then finally he came back and was like, yeah, I guess you can just book it like a birthday party. Like,
now for the big question, how much did it cost?
this is a mega fun Chuck E. Cheese package, so it came out to around $800.
And for a wedding, that's like less than the cost of an airhead. Plus, do normal weddings have all-you-can-play passes, or a ticket blaster, or breakdancing mice, or pizzas with suspiciously mismatched slices? I always tell people that the best thing about being married is that you don't need to plan a wedding anymore. Booking a caterer, or a DJ, or a band, or figuring out where everyone's gonna sit, it's all just extra stress for what's supposed to be the happiest day of your life. Leilani and Kwai Lee figured out a cheat code. They spent less, but got so much more, sending everyone home with core memories to grow old with. And you know what they say about the couple that plays together.
She has lots of crazy ideas, and I love to go along with them.
And I'm excited to spend the rest of my life with them.
This is a video, by the way.
Okay.
From a Chuck E. Cheese wedding, I'm Matt Shearer. For more, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio. How this group?
Well, I don't want us to be like creeping adults at the Chuck E. Cheese, so I figured it's time for us to head out.
Yeah.
So, that video I posted a couple months ago, it's up to like 3 million views on Instagram right now, another couple million on TikTok, and some. So it's doing really well. So that's the kind of stuff that I do for a living. I'm a news reporter, but I tell some of these more offbeat stories that you're not going to hear on the other platforms. And how did I get here? Well, I grew up in Acton, Massachusetts. I was really into, the kind of kid I was when I was in high school was really into skateboarding and like playing in punk bands. And my friends and I were sitting around in our little cafeteria one day and we saw a flyer for the school radio station. We had a radio station at our school that went maybe like out to the parking lot. And we were like, let's start a show, a talk show about skateboarding, and we'll play punk rock and it'll be awesome. And so that was it. I got on the air at 14 years old and I was like, you know what? This is, I think, what I want to do with my life. And I've been laser focused on it ever since. And here I am now in my 30s still doing it. And I always want to emphasize to young people, like, you don't have to have your mind made up at 14 years old. In fact, that's not normal. You know, even if you get to college and you still don't know what you want to do with your life, that's totally fine. You got time to figure it out. For me, I just happened to have this vision and I went with it, and I'm glad I did because I stuck with it. And my whole career thus far has been like radio. I don't know if when you were all like younger kids, did you ever listen to the old 103.3 amp radio at all? That radio station. I was there for 7 years. I used to be on the morning show there. They called me Producer Matt, and I would be on the air out in the streets doing silly bits and stuff and fun comedy-driven entertainment style radio. But then the pandemic happened, and that station shut down, and I was at home suddenly like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with my life again, you know? Nobody's hiring right now, everybody's shutting things down, but I got a call from WBZ that they were looking for a reporter, and at first I was like, I don't know if I really can, I've never been a reporter before, but they assured me I had all the skills that I needed for it. They're like, you're really good at interviewing people, we know that you understand Massachusetts really well, you know, what can I say? I've lived here my whole life. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll do it. I'll try this. And I'm so glad I did, because it's been the best job I've ever had. Every day I'm in a different town, meeting different people, exploring cool new things about the state that I've always called home that I never knew. So I love what I do for a living, and about a year into the job, my boss told me, hey, we want to start up the WBZ TikTok account. I'm like, great, have fun. He's like, no, we want you to be the guy to do it. Here we go. And I think the reason was because at the time, even though I was like in my early 30s, I was still like the young guy at the station. Keep in mind, this is an old news radio station, right? We had a lot of people who'd been there for decades, and suddenly I'm this guy who comes in who's looking to shake things up a little bit, and they're like, yeah, just go start doing stuff. What I did not want to do on social media was what you see a lot of corporations do, which is just kind of make like cringy content, like trying to like fit in with the kids and like, hey kids, look at us, we know all the trends, we can do the dances. I thought that would be really embarrassing for this like old news radio station to be doing trending stuff in the newsroom. So I was like, well, what we already do on the air is tell compelling stories in 45 seconds or less. Why don't we just do that and just like find a way to make it video? Take the audio and make it video. So at first, the early videos were just very basic, very like, audio with random B-roll on top of it. But over time, I figured out how to apply better video shooting skills and production skills to actually attract more attention and make the videos more worth watching than not just worth listening to. Because if you come across a video and it's just basically an audio piece with not very interesting visuals, you're probably going to swipe on by. So I wanted to do something a little more interesting than that. And things really started to blow up with me when I went to blow up for me, I should say, when I went to the town of Stowe, Massachusetts, where they had previously had 2 Dunkin' Donuts. But they lost both those Dunkin' Donuts in a matter of months, and the town lost their minds about it. So I made this video with 0 expectations that anyone outside of Stowe would care, but it ended up becoming like international news. I'll go ahead and show you the video and then explain. There are 351 municipalities in Massachusetts and 1,073 Dunkin' locations. Billerica has 3 on Boston Road, but further down 495, the town of Stowe is a Dunkin' desert.
There is no more Dunkin' Donuts in Stowe.
Absolutely none.
Those bastards.
Up until this year, they had 2. Now they're both closed. Neighbors are handling it like you might expect.
Yeah, it sucks. There's nothing fun to do, and Dunkin' Donuts was the one place where everyone likes to go.
Bummed out.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I've been traveling further away to go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How far do you have to travel now?
Over a mile and a half.
That's ridiculous.
These days, you gotta go around to Hudson, you gotta go to Sudbury, leave the state. I mean, not the state, you gotta leave Stowe, though. It's terrible.
Some are finding refuge at the 2 Dunks in Maynard, much to the dismay of Maynardians like Michael.
Especially if people are coming from Stowe, they're going to come through here on their way to work. Then I get held up for work.
But back in Stowe, a town with an airport, 3 golf courses, and some horses, they just want solutions.
Don't live in Stowe anymore.
You think it's worth moving out because there's no dump?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sad. Sad for the people of Stowe. Oh, and for this big.
From the drive-thru, I'm Matt Shearer. For more Dunks drama, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
Excuse me?
And so, again, I didn't think anyone outside of Stowe was going to care about that video at all. I was like, but again, next thing you know, I'm getting followed on social media by celebrities like Luke or Brian and Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm like, what is going on here? And like the story was written up in the newspapers over in the UK, and I'm like, why do we? And I think part of it's just because of the fascination. Like if you're not from Massachusetts and you're on the outside looking in and seeing all these people who are obsessed with Dunkin' Donuts and so distraught that they have to drive a mile and a half to get to one now. It's pretty funny. And so, of course, because the story went so viral, Dunkin' obviously caught wind of the story, and it became this whole thing where they got pressured into opening a new Dunkin' locations in Stowe, all because of my video. So here, sorry, hold on, this mouse is, here is the follow-up to that. 2 years ago, I found this town emotionally in shambles.
There is no more Dunkin' Donuts and stuff.
Those bastards. The people of Stowe lost both their Dunkins in a matter of months, and the news went around the world.
Yeah, it sucks. Dunkin' Donuts was the one place where everyone likes to go.
Yeah,
How far do you have to travel now?
over a mile and a half.
Because don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? It sucks.
It's awful.
If I drank more Dunkins, would my skin be less crepey?
And I am so sick and tired of America runs on donuts. Sorry.
But every once in a while, they paved that parking lot and put up a paradise.
We're doing the demo for the keynotes that's coming up for the city.
Heard that right?
The keynotes that's coming up for the city.
Ta-da!
We're gonna do it.
You're gonna do it?
Yeah.
One's coming back.
Yes.
Oh my god, where?
So that's where the old Dunkin' was. The new one is right there.
Yes! Are you serious? Stop it! This is the best news ever. I'm so excited.
How is this gonna change your life?
Probably won't.
But even the non-coffee people
Get over it, man. I mean, geez, you really flipped out about a Dunkin' Donuts?
are just excited to see something come of this building.
You guys gonna see inside right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I can't believe I get to explore an abandoned building today. This used to be a restaurant, the old Beef and Ale, but it's been sitting vacant for 16 years. So seriously, stay out of the fridge. First things first, they gotta gut the place. They're gonna keep the structure the way it is and just give it new amenities, like a farmer's porch with tons of seating and probably some new bathrooms. Oh my God. The thing I love about being in an abandoned place like this is think about how much life once happened here. First dates, celebration dinners. Which reminds me, there's someone I think will be throwing their own celebration here very soon.
Don't live in Stowe anymore.
You think it's worth moving out because there's no dump?
Yeah.
Well, she still lives here, but
How you been? How are you?
her life's about to change. It's coming back.
No way. That's wild. That's actually amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm really proud of everyone in Stowe who stayed and like made it through the whole Dunkin' Desert situation, and hopefully the Facebook moms will be happy now.
They're saving our town.
You look like you want to jump up and
Of course I do. And you would jump. Yeah, don't care that either.
from a new beginning. I'm Matt Shearer. For more, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
Message for the people of Stowe. Have a goal like I did when I died. You wonder why you're alive. I was dead. This whole life we're in could be a whole hallucination from somebody else. And I decided that the thing that I should try and do is make everybody a little happy. And have them smile on the day.
You know what makes people smile?
No,
Dunkin' Donuts.
that's what I figured you were going to say.
Got a little existential there at the end. I kind of like throwing in those random curveballs at the end that nobody expects, just because, you know, these are long videos for social media, right? But it's really important to me to tell a story kind of in a real storytelling kind of way, where you set everybody up with the characters, but making it interesting throughout and reminding people that it's going to be worth it to stick through the end. So it's kind of fun. And it was cool that, you know, I kind of inspired some change in a small way, right? Obviously, most of the stories that I cover are very offbeat, and like I'm covering these things that are like not really big deals, but they're big deals to the people who are affected by it. And it's nice that like just by posting a little video like that, Dunkin' Donuts can see that and actually improve the lives of the people who are living in that community. Another very non-big deal type of problem that I noticed in Boston. I don't know if you all have ever been to the Boston Public Library in Copley Square. Like that's the really, really big fancy looking one. But they have a quiet room there, a room that's like super, super silent, where you're not allowed to talk. But there's a big, big noisy problem in that room, which I addressed in this video. Boston Public Library is a good place to relax, especially in Bates Hall. Especially Bates Hall, the quiet room. You can come study wizardry or whatever in peace. But for decades, that peace has been disturbed by the chairs. Are we being loud? Some almost sound musical. Others sound... That just sounded like flatulence.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But it wasn't, just in case you were wondering.
Okay.
But I've been saying for years that the solution is simple.
You might be a genius.
It seems like some other genius tried this decades ago, but a redo is long overdue, so I'm taking matters into my own hands and everyone else's legs. Is this an ad? No, I'm just trying to make a difference in people's lives. You just went right to a different table. Yeah, bro, I gotta work, man. Is it because of me? I'm in class, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot quieter.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. world a quieter place. A couple stickies at a time. Shh. Sorry.
And what's funny about that is I did not tell the Boston Public Library that I was going to do that. And they were not very happy about that video because then they had to go in and actually address the problem, which they did. Like a day or two later, they went in and put some of those things on the chairs. I don't know if they're still there, but you know, it was kind of nice. I went in and made a silly little dumb video, and it worked out. I've got a bunch of examples of little things like that, but every once in a while, I bump into some people that are really actually trying to make a difference with in a very real way. And this is a good example of that. Somebody I worked with who was at the State House. This is, there we go. Oh, whatever. You can see it.
For a city that can't pronounce it, the R word sure gets thrown around a lot. You know the one.
Like, oh, you're retarded.
Nobody want to get called that, you know what I'm saying?
You ain't gonna go on national news and be like, hey.
And you're kind of doing that right now.
Yeah.
It's one thing to throw it around at a playground or a dive bar. Actually, it's a pretty terrible thing. But it's also all over Massachusetts law. Like here and here and here. But there is someone who's doing something about it. Let's go meet her. Whoa.
I'm reporting.
Go for it. This is my friend Melissa. Oh.
Hello.
Melissa has been dealing with discrimination her whole life.
In high school, I was told that I could not graduate.
So her classmates at Acton Boxborough started a petition.
I got a lot of signatures, and I felt really proud to graduate with my friends.
We were proud of you too.
Thanks, Matt. And you are one of my really good friends.
It's true, I was one of those classmates who signed it, and now, years later,
I was officially hired
as an aide to State Senator J.B. Eldridge.
I loved every single bit of it.
Well, she's been advocating for the archaic language bill, to delete the R word and write in people with disabilities.
It should not be around anymore, and definitely not around in the State House.
Right now, Melissa's been busy sending out letters of support to all the senators and representatives to try to get them on board. And no surprise, they are.
Yes, I'm proud to be a co-sponsor.
She's passionate about it. It's time to get it done.
The challenge is getting it signed with so many other bills on their plate. With a strong advocate like Melissa and a huge network of support behind her, it's gonna happen.
I just love my classmates.
And we love you too, Melissa.
Thank you, Matt.
From the State House, I'm Matt Shearer. For more, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio.
iHeartRadio.
Pretend I'm not even here.
Matt. I know you're here.
So it's cool that obviously, you know, I spend a lot of time covering things like Dunkin' Donuts and the chairs in the libraries, but every once in a while I get the opportunity to cover a real issue. You know, it's obviously, you know, understandably not like top of the priority of Massachusetts, senators and state representatives, but it is something that means a lot to a lot of people, and it's such an easy thing. I mean, it basically, a bill like that has unanimous support in the State House. The problem is they have so many bills on their desks that it's one that they just keep kind of pushing off. So, and it's got to pass both the Senate and the House of Representatives. And so getting all those different elected officials to actually get it done is the biggest challenge for Melissa, who's advocating for this bill. But by putting out a video like that, which also got a lot of attention on social media, it inspired so many people to actually call there and get engaged, call their state reps, call their state senators. And so we're thinking and we're optimistic that hopefully in the next session that bill will get passed. Here's another one that's more of a serious issue that I was able to get a little bit more eyes on.
Every time I drive over the Tobin Bridge from Boston, I notice these porches on the Chelsea side that look like you could literally just step onto. And I've always wondered what it's like to live there.
Porch, nobody likes to go there a lot.
Woo-wee. Now I know.
Do you feel relaxed?
No, not knowing that.
Long story short, it's not great. And it goes way beyond just the noise factor. It's also a public health issue.
I'm like a conspiracy theorist with this freaking bridge at this point.
So let's meet the neighborhood.
You've been here for a while.
This is Elena.
Yeah, mucho tiempo.
Mucho tiempo, yeah.
And that's Roberto Jimenez Rivera, Chelsea City Councilor at large. He doesn't live in this neighborhood, but I needed someone to make me feel less creepy about knocking on doors.
The noise is sometimes annoying.
That's Billy, whose mom lives here.
The 18-wheelers that pass by, it's like they shake the apartment and everything.
That's Valentino.
Aim is a little bit better.
Maybe your aim would be better if you had less traffic noise and you could focus.
Very.
You could could have cookouts back here. They might be a little loud, but
Yeah, it's a little loud, and then it's like you said, with the dust, I call it bridge seasoning.
That's Evan, and yeah, the dust. Now we're getting into the grittiest of the nitty-gritty, because this isn't just any dust.
The Tobin Bridge has been raining lead paint into our neighborhoods.
That's Roseanne Bongiovanni from Green Roots. They're the advocacy group who first sounded the alarm 2 years ago.
I didn't have medical issues until I moved here.
That's freedom.
It's horrible. The dust is everywhere. It's in our windowsills. If I was upstairs, I would show you.
Of course, I had to take her up on that the very next day.
Whoa! Some of it's black, some of it's green. It just depends.
oh yeah, that dust and stuff.
That's on all of it.
Sorry to bother you, man.
So here's my room. So I'm literally like right here.
Good news is MassDOT is on top of it. They sent me this statement. The Tobin Bridge is over 75 years old, and MassDOT is needing a $128 million repair, repainting, and cleaning project on the bridge. The bad news is with work comes more noise and other disturbances.
Like it's torturous.
Vienen muy temprano en la mañana y uno casi no puede dormir.
So they gave everybody one of those big like R2-D2 air conditioner things.
That was another part of the compromise. Neighbors got to pick up free vacuum cleaners and air purifiers.
That's a works, I swear, for makes noise inside the house.
I still haven't to this day gotten a lead test, but I'm sure the levels are ridiculous.
Yeah. And to Green Roots, the bigger question is,
Why wasn't the Chelsea side of the bridge de-leaded? The Charlestown side was decades ago.
here we are, halfway through an estimated 4-year project.
Hasta que lo eliminen y pongan un túnel, si es posible.
Maybe someday. Until then, the neighbors are just trying to keep their heads up, high above the dust clouds.
Some of my friends pass by and they're like, I beeped when I went by, and I'm like, yeah, I can't hear it.
Yeah.
People who lived under the bridge used to call us the lead paint kids.
What I always tell people is I don't care if you've been here 30 years or 3 days. If you're here and you want to stay here, Chelsea's here for you. And that's, I think, something that the community has really embodied for hundreds of years.
Even though it's also been hundreds of years since the landlords have replaced their 9-volt batteries.
From under the Tobin Bridge, I'm Matt Shearer. For more, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
When they were putting up those tarps, my friend and I were sitting out on the porch just having drinks. We were just talking to them like, hey, you want a drink? Like,
So,
again, that's something that, it's kind of a story that no one's really talking about, and it all started with just a little curiosity on my part, driving out of Boston over the Tobin Bridge, looking to the side and being like, man, I feel like I could just reach out and touch those porches. And so I thought I was entering into like kind of a quirky story about like the weird side of living so close to the bridges, what are the craziest things you've seen people doing on the highway, things like that. But it turned out to be like a really serious issue and like a major problem that's maybe underreported because so much of the community, English is not their first language, and so they're overlooked by a lot of media outlets, something like that. Either way, I was like, wow, well now I actually have to do a serious piece on this, and I'm gonna do it, which I did, and sure enough, that put the pressure on MassDOT to get this project done, and the city of Chelsea to look out for their community. I mean, the city of Chelsea has been really good about advocating for the people. It's more an issue on a state level. Like you heard them mention that the Charlestown side of the bridge has already been de-leaded, but the Chelsea side wasn't. So by putting that video out there, it got people to ask that question, why? And I think this is kind of the territory now that I'm getting into where this is relating to a project that you're working on, right? From what I understand, you have something coming up where you need to inspire social change in some way. You might notice that as a reporter, I'm not often one to give people like a call to action, right? I don't often say things like, hey, go call your city councilors and your state reps and tell them to fix this bridge. Tell them to advocate for the archaic language bill. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm simply going to present the story, present the facts, show the human side of it, and let people take action on their own. Let them decide how they want to proceed. And I think that's really important. I think it's focusing on the human level of all this. It would be one thing if I just rattled off stats about the bridge and said like, oh, look at this, here's all the lead paint and like they're working to get it done, but to actually go into the apartments, to show what life is like inside of them and hear the people's stories, that's a much more powerful and effective tool to inspire people who are watching the video to want to take action and do something about it. Same thing with my friend Melissa, who's advocating for the archaic language bill. It's like to actually hear her story and like, I don't know, there's probably a segment of this population where if you said,
oh yeah, the R word is written in Massachusetts law, we want to get rid of that, the people would probably be like, oh, that's not a big deal, come on. But if you actually hear Melissa talking about it and saying that why that affects her and why it cuts so deep to see that word in the law books in Massachusetts, it's a very, very different thing. It makes it a lot harder for people to argue against that, let's just put it that way. So at this point, I guess we can probably go ahead and take questions. I have more videos I can show you, and I will probably, inspired by your questions, I'll say, oh yeah, that makes me want to show you this video, and I'll put that on. But if you have specific questions right now, we're about halfway done. Let's hear them and let's talk about it. Yeah.
Stand up.
Stretch those legs.
What propelled your career to doing what you do, and what's something you want to accomplish for the rest of your career?
Yeah, good question. So, I mean, for me, it was, a lot of people in journalism are drawn to the idea of storytelling and reporting the news and stuff, and that's for sure something that I enjoy doing now, but it wasn't what initially made me want to get into it. I was drawn to the medium of radio and audio entertainment, podcasting and all that, because for me, there's something so magical about like being alone in your car driving and you're listening to the voice of someone somewhere else in the world talking to you, being your companion while you're on like a long drive or maybe a long walk. You're listening in your headphones and you can't see them, but you're forming an image in your head of like what they're looking like, what they're talking about. It's a really cool, intimate medium in that way. And I'm just an audio nerd. I could nerd out about microphones and audio editing all day. So to combine those two things is what made me want to go down that path. Now, obviously, I'm working in more of a visual field, doing, within the past few years, just getting more involved with social media storytelling. It's very, it has a lot of similarities, I think. The notion that, like, on the radio, somebody's listening by themselves, I think it's very much the same on social media, So rarely is like are there a whole family of people crowded around one phone watching a video. It's 90% of the time someone just watching on their own and swiping around. So, like, I'm gonna talk to people in the video like I'm talking to a friend. I'm not gonna talk like a news reporter, like this, because that just feels not authentic. So the next part of your question was kind of, where do I see this going? That's a really tough question to answer because, or where do I see my career going? Because now all of a sudden, because of this social media stuff taking off, all these doors are opening up for me. Not to sound like I'm bragging here, but I've been getting calls from TV stations, radio stations, newspapers, like all these traditional media outlets across the country that want to hire me to basically go in and kind of bring their platform into the new century, the new millennium, because they're all stuck in this old way of doing things. We make TV shows, we make radio shows, but, how do we adapt that to put our content in front of people where they are on social media? I figured out how to do it for WBZ News Radio, and now they want to hire me at other places. But I don't know if I'll go. Maybe, I don't know. WBZ's been good to me, so it's nice to have options. Other questions? Yeah.
What do you get from Crumble?
Crumble? Isn't that the cookie service? Is that what that is? Yeah. I've never ordered from Crumble. Am I missing out? Yes. What should I get from Crumble is my question. Fruity pebble cookie? Okay, all right. Lucky Charms. I love how you can just put cereal on anything. Ice cream, cookies, cupcakes, and it just takes it to another level. Donuts, yeah, there's a really good Fruity Pebble donut at Union Square Donuts. What's that? Rocco's? Yes, that's a good one too. That's great. And the donut stand in Southborough, which might be a bit of a drive from here, but they're really good. Other questions? Yeah, sorry.
Okay, my question is, how do you have the energy to get others engaged for a long period of time?
Yeah.
When you say engaged, you mean in the video?
It doesn't just be in the video. How do you have the energy to go out and socialize for like long periods of time?
Great question.
Like engage like the community.
That's a really good question. And I think so much of it comes from just experience, the experience of actually going out and doing it. So many people tell me, like, ask similar questions like, how do you talk to strangers? It's a weird thing to just like go up to a stranger and start a conversation, right? I think for me, it's like I have to remind myself that most people are gonna say no, you know, and that's fine. Like, that's normal. Most people out and about who are on the sidewalk, like, they have places to be. So if I went up to every single person, everyone's like, oh, why, yes, kind stranger, I'll not only let you, talk to you, but I'll let you film me. You know, that's not normal. So when I walk up to someone on the street and say, hey, can I interview you real quick? They're like, no, sorry. I'm like, okay. On to the next. I tend to go to places where there are going to be lots of people, so I don't feel weird about it. It'd be really weird if I was on a street that's completely dead except for like one person walking their dog, and I was like, hey, can I interview you real quick? And they said, no, and then I'm standing there and there's no one else, right? That would be weird. But it's nice when I can just go up, and then, you know, yeah, it's a little tricky to keep people engaged for a long time. Like, you have to actually, but I think the secret to that is just like having a natural conversation with them. I know a lot of reporters and journalists who go in with like a set list of questions in front of them that they want to ask, and I get that that is helpful, like, so that you don't have to, you don't have to fear forgetting what your next question is going to be. But what I find with that strategy is that you're not really listening to what they're saying. You're kind of just waiting for them to finish talking so that you can ask your next question. So for me, I'm more just like, going with the flow, and like I'll listen to them talk, and I'll be really actually paying attention to what they're saying and asking follow-ups, because the more follow-ups you ask, the more, like, the deeper, the better the responses are going to get, the better the story. So again, nothing wrong with going out in the beginning with a list of questions so that you don't forget what you want to ask. That can be helpful. But I think if you can get to a place where you can just naturally have a conversation and listen to people and ask follow-ups, then it's going to be great. The other thing is too, like, I'll take the show on the road sometimes with people. I'll go for walks with you. I'll say, oh, you're walking this way? Yeah, I'll walk and talk. Let's go. I'm lucky in that I'm doing this all for social media, so I don't have like a giant TV camera with a lighting setup with me. It's literally just a microphone and my phone. So I'm walking like this. Yeah, oh, cool, okay, yeah. And I'm making eye contact, and like they're looking at me, they're not looking at the camera. I've even been known to get in cars with people before and go for rides. I don't recommend that. Maybe using my male privilege a little bit there for that, but it's good. It just, again, or going into their apartments, again, probably don't recommend that, but for the sake of this story and what I was doing, it was fine. And I had someone there helping me that day. There was as you can see, I'm obviously not holding the camera. A lot of the times I'll set up a tripod because it's just me out and about in the world, but this particular day I had a trainee with me, so he was holding the camera, and that was helpful. So yeah, I think just practice, getting out there and doing this. I've been talking to strangers for a living for a long time now, and I love it. I love meeting people, and that's the other thing. You have to really love it. Good question. You had your hand up a second ago? Yeah.
What is the craziest / most interesting thing you discovered while covering?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Craziest and most interesting? I don't know. So, well, actually, there was one time I was walking through the woods of Needham. Let me see if I can find this, because this is a fun one. I was walking through the woods of Needham, Massachusetts, and I happened to come across a random model train set in the middle of the woods, right? Like, imagine just like you can't see any houses, but there's just like this train set and all these little characters, and I'm like, what is going on? Here's that video. And I ended up looking it up and finding the guy who sets it up. Here we go. Next time you're in Needham, keep an eye out for these tiny bird feeders in the woods. They're color-coded, and if you follow the right path, you'll find Martini Junction.
This is a trail that I put in.
And the town didn't have an issue with that?
Well, the town doesn't know about it, you see.
90-year-old Jim Metcalf has been building this bustling little forest community for nearly 3 decades.
I have all the time. Well, I don't know how much time I have left, but I'm willing to share a little bit of it with you. This was actually a molehill here.
Oh, yeah.
We tried to turn into a mountain, but it hasn't really been successful.
The main attraction is this massive model train track. Oh no! Good thing it happened up here on the deck too. Imagine over by the waterfall.
Someone up above is watching it because it's never derailed out there.
We really shouldn't have said that. Oh! But most of the time it works great, and it draws in visitors from far and wide.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going? Good, how are you? Many of them wondering why there's a Spinosaurus working alongside a cat construction truck.
Well, you have to read the sign.
If dinosaurs and caterpillars can learn to work together, perhaps there is still hope for humankind.
Isn't that a lovely thing?
That's beautiful.
It's a lovely thought.
From Martini Junction, I'm Matt Shearer. For more on my visit, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
This is no Mickey Mouse operation here. Although Mickey Mouse would probably enjoy it.
I thought of another one. So these guys, and this is another fairly short one too. I was driving through Gloucester and discovered these guys who started a drive-through in their front lawn, and the city hates it because obviously that's extremely unsanitary, but here's the video. If you saw a sign that said yard meat, would you pull over for a bite?
We're eating yard meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Tyler White and Nick Parisi have their own yard meat drive-thru in Gloucester.
Sometimes, a bun or something will hit the ground.
Dirt is one of the oldest seasonings known to man. If you really look into the dirt, there's all types of different minerals in it.
Usually they keep it pretty clean, though. There's also this guy they call Kid Rock who kind of sits there and doesn't say much.
That's the Lanesville Kid Rock right there.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
3 people have flipped over in this chair.
And it's actually and that's another, yes!
How many burgers do you eat per day if you're out here 7 days a week?
Anywhere from 3 to 5 burgers a day.
There is something about it that tastes more yardy.
City health inspector showed up, and
the first time he left a note that said you cannot sell in big letters meat to people.
But that's the loophole. They're not selling. It's all donation based. Still, now the state health inspector is on the case.
If they shut us down, the only thing we could do is go on hunger strike because I'm not eating raw meat. I mean, I feel like they're the ones being unsafe.
Plus, being out here every day and night, grilling yard meat, eating yard meat, and now vlogging about yard meat, they built a community that feels more like family.
My family is the Coles.
And Kid Rock back there. Yep.
In Gloucester, I'm Matt Shearer. For more yard meat, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, anti-propane for
sure. When I saw those guys, I put that up, and it felt like an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something. These guys just get this ridiculous idea and they go with it. So that probably doesn't inspire you for your project very much, but the fact that both the city and state health inspectors were trying to come in and shut them down, but their loophole is that they're doing it for donations and they're not actually selling, was hilarious to me. So that was probably one of the craziest things I've come across. Good question. Other questions? Yeah. Well, obviously Millbury is my favorite town in Mass. Yeah, because no town had more turkey vultures 3 years ago than Millbury, Massachusetts. I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite. I've had good times in all different towns. I had a surprisingly good time in Clinton, Massachusetts, going over by the dam over there. Did I just hear, ugh, Clinton? But I had a great day there that day, and there's some interesting history in town, and Rockport is beautiful, and the people there are great. The year-rounders in Rockport, I know a lot of people will go there for vacation. And I'm partial to my hometown of Acton, and I live in Framingham now, so I like that. Yeah. And I like just every town, my goal when I go there is to find something interesting or something new that I haven't seen before, and just about every town has something. So I like that. Other questions? I think, tall guy, yeah. Yeah, you're tall. Well, your arm was really long, so you should play basketball if you don't already. Let's hear it.
Would you ever do a piece on Millbury?
Yeah, I would absolutely do a piece on Millbury, for sure. That's on my list of towns to get to, definitely. Where should I go when I go to Millbury? Let me ask you that. Besides the high school.
Draft House.
The Draft House? Is that what you said? Taft House? All right.
You should do the Elms.
The Elks?
Elms. It's a movie theater.
Oh, okay. Yeah? And it's interesting? It's got good stories? And it's old, is it haunted? Maybe. Yes, I heard yes. By Bigfoot? I never know. I mean, I've definitely done stories before where people have taken me out to try to find Bigfoot. That's fascinating. Yeah, you want to see a Bigfoot story? Okay. I have a couple. I have that one. I can show you that one, or I can show you. So I don't know if you're all familiar. In Massachusetts, have you heard of the Bridgewater Triangle? No? So down near Bridgewater, there's like paranormal enthusiasts love it because like it's apparently a hot spot for ghost activity and aliens and Bigfoot and stuff. And whether or not you believe in that, no, I just heard, I don't. Let me see, do I even have that? Oh wait, yes, I did bring that story here. I always find, whether or not you believe in it, I find the people who are obsessed with this stuff fascinating. So obviously, me doing people-driven stories, I had to do this one. And I brought a friend along for the journey too, who happens to be a soap opera star, which is hilarious.
This is my natural habitat.
The Bridgewater Triangle.
Whoa, man, that's in my backyard.
An alleged paranormal hotspot south of Boston where things go bump in the night. And it's not just ghosts, it's not just cryptozoology or aliens, it's all of it.
And what are we doing today, Matt?
We're going to find Bigfoot. I brought the Bold and the Beautiful's Emmy-nominated actress Annika Noel to help me recreate some of the Sasquatch stories.
I am a fan of this show, and so I reached out to Matt and I was like, hey, I'm going to be in town. And never did I think that we would be Sasquatch hunting.
Hey, Dave. Nice to see you again, Matt. How you doing?
Dave McCullough is the founder of Squatchachusetts.
My personal belief is it's a human hybrid. It does seem to have half human traits.
He led us to a secret location where we met Rich Brawl.
Can I walk out back?
I mean...
No, that's just, I communicate with that.
Okay. You got a look on your face. Do you hear something?
He wasn't a Bigfoot guy until...
Well, 6 or 7 years ago, I started hearing something walking around out here. I remember everything got quiet, and I was actually scratching a ticket. So I was over here doing like a cash word one, you know, like this, and I held my phone out like this, and I said, come on, where you at? And all of a sudden I get, where you at? What's that?
Rich and Dave's phones are loaded with alleged evidence like that, and big feet pics.
That's a big toe. Do you see the little fuzzies? You see that tree?
Oh yeah.
All the bark beating off it?
But most of the supposed signs involved tree trunks that were bent a certain way, or arranged a little too neatly for Mother Nature.
Some of them I look at and I'm like, that's just artwork, man.
Did you see here, this tree that's fallen somehow?
You didn't tell me you were a pro Bigfoot hunter, Annika.
Well, in the woods of Sudbury, you learn a thing or two.
Where'd you hear it?
Not way out there.
That way?
Yeah, way out.
I swear they know me. Remember that sound we heard? They were like, it almost sounded like Chewbacca. And it was like,
So we didn't see anything that truly made us go. But if we did, as Dave puts it,
If you don't bother them, they won't bother you.
Ow, ow.
You okay?
I think I might have just got stung.
right there, talk. Yeah, that's a beat.
From the Bridgewater Triangle, I'm Matt Shearer. For more, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
Live from Matt's car, where we want to make sure that he is a responsible driver.
Thank you. I don't want to crash again. This is
Again.
So that was fun. I love the fact that that guy calls his group Squatchachusetts. It's like mass squatches right there, dude. You could have used that name, but no, Squatchachusetts is their group. And like, again, it's not like I'm out here like trying to make fun of these people, because I'll be honest, I'll out myself here. I find paranormal stuff fascinating. But I can acknowledge that like it's also a little bit ridiculous. So there's a balance between like representing them fairly, but also acknowledging kind of the absurdity of the whole situation. You know, if we can't laugh at ourselves, then what's the point? Other questions? Yeah. Okay, great question. So how did I discover my storytelling style that works so well, and what trials and errors did I go through? So yeah, and this is a good one, because there are a lot of young people coming into the biz and stuff who are trying to, you know, they'll come out with me and train for a day, and there'll be a new hire, so I'll train them on how, and then they go and they kind of try to recreate what I'm doing, and it's like, that's fine, but it would be much better if you just found your own voice and your own storytelling style, you know? And so much of that is just trial and error, like you said, just actually, like I mentioned in the beginning, I was just taking the audio pieces that I was making and slapping video on top of it until I just started experimenting. I mean, for me, it's really important to never tell a story or make the same video twice. Like, I really want to always be experimenting and trying different things and seeing what works. And so I had to do a lot of that. And I think just once I started like just being more myself, then I think it just came naturally. Because that's the thing. It's like, the guy that's telling these stories is the same guy that's standing here talking to you right now, and the same guy that would be talking to my friends. Like, I'm not trying to be someone else on screen than I am in person. You know, when I started this job, having never been a reporter before, all I knew about being a reporter was like what I saw on TV. So I'm like, okay, I gotta like dress fancy and like talk a certain way and look nice and do my hair nice. But then like, I was like, no, this doesn't make sense. This isn't who I am. So the button-ups came off and the khakis were replaced with jeans. And next thing you know, it just felt more natural. It felt more me. So yeah, I mean, trial and error is important. I think you have to do that kind of stuff. So I guess, and those were some of the things that I tried that didn't work. So. And that's the other thing. I do videos all the time that don't work. You know, like, I'm going to do this totally different in a way I've never done it before. And I'll put it up and it's like horrible. And it's like so bad. But I'm glad that I tried it, you know? Yeah, I don't want to bore people who follow me into being like, oh, it's just another Matt video. I want it to be like, oh, each one is like a different adventure. And I get to take you along for the ride. Other questions? Yeah.
How do you feel about the Boston Bruins trading Brad Marchand for a rookie?
Oh man, I know. It's sad. So I'm gonna kind of sound like a name drop here, but I've met Brad Marchand before. I've interviewed him, not for one of these videos at my old radio station, and he was actually awesome. He was just like a great guy, like so down to earth. Kind of like what I was saying, where I was, you know, I try to be myself on camera as much as I can. He is just 100% himself. Every time he's like out there on the ice and like licking players' faces and skating away, like, that's hilarious. That's just the kind of guy he is. He has a great sense of humor. So it's sad, end of an era, but I guess something needed to change on the Bruins organization, right? This hasn't been their year, and they already lost, what's his name? Oh my gosh, last season he retired. Bergeron, thank you. Yeah, so Bergeron's already gone, and so I felt like Marchand was kind of like the last of the guys who won the cup with the, you know, and so it was like, it was time to shake things up. I mean, I'm more of a Celtics fan anyway, so if you want to talk to me about like Celtics trades, I could go on all day, but that's how I felt. It was more of an emotional attachment to Brad Marchand because I don't follow hockey too close. Other questions? Yeah. Ooh, my favorite part of Massachusetts history. I'll go ahead and play a video for you. So someone actually in the front row here just referenced this one earlier. I do this series, some of you are aware of it because you've already referenced it, where I go to different towns and I try to find something cool. And the way this series came about was somebody left a comment on one of my videos one time saying, go to Bellingham and try to find something cool. And I get suggestions, oh wait, where'd that one go? I get suggestions all the time, and that one was really bad. I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound like an interesting story, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to Bellingham and try to find something cool. And I did, and I made the video, and all the comments started filling up with, hey, when are you gonna do my town? Go to my town. So I'm like, all right, we have a series. So in Leominster, I happened to find my favorite Massachusetts historical figure, and almost found Bigfoot as well. I expected to meet cool people in Leominster, but I never expected to find my new favorite Massachusetts historical figure. No, it's not Johnny Appleseed, even though he was a real person. And no, it's not Don Featherstone, the guy who invented the plastic lawn flamingo, which by the way is everywhere in town, and they throw a big plastic flamingo festival every year, and instead of Groundhog Day, they have a flamingo predict the weather.
You guys are all out of your mind.
Oh yeah, and that's their mayor, Dean Mazzarella.
You want to take a ride in my car?
Sure. It's not him either, but we need to talk about this guy for a minute.
You studying over there?
Yeah. He has been mayor for 31 years.
Everybody's a legend in this town. On lefty, righty, chicken, mumbles.
And I usually try to avoid politicians for stories like this because they're just going to give me some PR speech, but this guy's different.
I'm going to take you to Monsterland.
Monsterland?
People have seen Bigfoot down there. People swear on it, and double pinky swear on it, and you know it's valid. So we're entering Monsterland.
This is Monsterland.
Looks a lot different now. It's got a Walmart. And there are actually police reports about it. Many people have come in as non-believers and have left as believers.
And it only got spookier from there.
See the cemetery here?
Yeah.
I was in the 6th grade. Billy Wallace came to school and said a spaceship landed inside the cemetery.
What?
So I was a little skeptical, but then I read the police report.
He could go on all day.
They always said there was ghosts inside City Hall.
But that's a story for another time. Speaking of cemeteries, that is where we find my new favorite Massachusetts historical figure, Joseph Palmer, persecuted for wearing the beard. Joseph was a veteran of the War of 1812, but by the time he moved to the area, he had a full beard, and the people in town were not okay with that. They used to throw stones at him, break the windows in his house. His pastor at church wouldn't even give him communion. In 1830, he got tackled by 4 dudes who tried to forcibly shave him. So he stabbed one of them, got fined, didn't pay it, and went to jail. But the story's only just starting to get crazy. In jail, his fellow inmates also tried to shave his beard forcefully, but he refused to leave jail unless he got a proclamation saying that it was okay to have a full beard, which he didn't get. So the prison guards got him out the only way they could. They tied him to a chair and threw him out. He went on to become a local celebrity and abolitionist, which rules, and now he's buried here in legendary Leominster, home of the biggest apple in New England. Oh, I think technically this is Lancaster. Quick rapid fire of other things I saw. Pastaland, this guy, a shop that sells coffee and flags, a random follower who convinced me to go surprise her husband for his birthday. Kidding me? Hey! Also a mall, a diner, whatever this is, and most importantly, a whole lot of hometown pride.
That's actually the Featherstone Flamingo, and then I had to pay a salute to Johnny Appleseed as well.
The invention of Tupperware was here in Leominster.
Come and smell some nice fresh green grass.
Navigating to Leominster.
What do you like about Leominster?
Nothing really.
In Leominster, I'm Matt Shearer. For more, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
This is my favorite spot in the city.
Is this your house?
No.
Little fun Easter egg for you guys. Anytime you hear music in one of my stories in the background, that's actually me playing, because I decided I'm not going to deal with like copyright infringement or any of that, and I want to be able to post across every platform. So rather than just like pull stock sounds or trending sounds or whatever, I just will grab my guitar or put on the bass, or in the case of that video, the Chuck E. Cheese wedding video you saw earlier, I think I played bass, guitar, drums, saxophone, just like layered it all together, and it makes the process fun for me. Because this is something that you can take with you to the project that you're going to be working on soon, is picking not only topics that you're passionate about, that you really care about, but also making the process of it fun for you. Because if it's not fun for you to actually make what you're making, then it's not going to be fun for the people who are watching it or listening to it. So I try to have as much fun as possible, and I hope that comes through when you're watching these, that like I'm out there having a great time. And you should too in your work. So we've got, I think, a few minutes left here. I can take a couple more questions, or teachers, if there's a specific thing that you want me to address or talk about.
Can you do 2 more questions and then we'll do...
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I think you were first way back there.
How do you deal with the anxiety of speaking to people or putting yourself on stage?
Yeah, so it's funny, I look back on my life sometimes and I have so few memories that like don't make me cringe, of just like things I've done or said, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I like this? So I just kind of embrace it at this point, and like nothing really can embarrass me too much anymore. And you know, I know that nobody's perfect, so I just put myself out there and talk to people, and I think the people that I'm talking to, I realize they're more worried about embarrassing themselves on the microphone than I'm worried about. And plus the other thing is, especially when I'm recording, it's like, I have the power of editing. I can make myself look as good or as bad as I want, you know? So I have nothing to fear. It's the other people get weird about microphones and stuff, and that's why I try to be as normal as possible and not like this intimidating figure to them, because I don't want them to feel awkward. I want them to feel comfortable talking to me like I'm just a normal guy. I think someone had their hand up a second ago over here, but yeah. What's up? Oh, yeah. So do people change how they act in front of the camera? Absolutely, yeah. And I can tell, and that's why, again, I try to ease them into it. Sometimes, like the first few questions I ask, I can tell they're really stiff and nervous, but as time goes on and the conversation goes on, like they open up. And the other thing is too, like, I mentioned this before, I don't have like a big shoulder camera with me, you know, and there's no big lighting. The fact that it's just my cell phone, which is like down here most of the time, and I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, it's more like you're just having a conversation with another person, and the phone / camera just happens to be there. And there's a microphone too. But generally speaking, yeah, people are a little nervous on the microphone, and yeah, just on camera, and you just got to ease them into it. All right.
Matt, the reason why we're here today is they are embarking on a cross-curricular assignment between biology and English. So they are looking at a problem in biology that they are going to need to solve of an environmental factor. And then they're going to be going out into the community to kind of present and get people's opinions on that, and then kind of find that solution to kind of market the people, places, businesses. Do you have any tips and tricks to focus more on that environmental issue within their community?
Yeah.
Millbury, Worcester, Massachusetts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an awesome project. The fact that you're not only finding the problem, but finding a solution is really great. And it's so easy to do that, I think, in the sense, I'm not saying, oh, this is easy, you're gonna have a great time. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to put in the work. But it's easy to put the word out there about an issue and have other people act on it rather than you having to do all the work yourself. So it would be great if you kind of had some sort of a call to action for people watching your videos to be like, oh yeah, like wow, that does seem like a big deal, and here's something easy and simple that I can do about it. I also would recommend talking to people to find ideas. Don't put all the stress on yourself to come up with what's the environmental issue. Get out there and talk to people, even if it's just your friends. Put the word out there on your Instagram story or TikTok and like see what people say in the comments. Be like, what's an environmental issue in your community or something nearby you that affects you and matters to you? Like, what's something that you would like to see change with? I mean, that's how the whole issue with the bridge in Chelsea came about. You know, it's not like organic science necessarily. I mean, there's certainly biology involved when you're talking about lead poisoning, but that was an environmental issue that I just happened to come upon because I was talking to people. So I would say get out there and talk to people and find out what's affecting them. And again, make the story human. Actually talk to them about how it affects their lives and show that. I'm a big believer too in showing, not telling. You know, if you can put something up on the screen and people can see pollution or people can see the negative impacts of some environmental issue, they're going to be much more likely to act on that than if they don't have the visual. You know, if you were to just tell them and show them graphs, graphs are good, data is important, back your stuff up with data, but to actually show the human impact is really, really powerful. So that's something I would keep in mind too. Let's see. Got time for another question if anyone has any lingering thoughts. Way in the back, yeah.
You talked about having friends in the city. What do you suggest that we do to contact people?
To contact like state reps and stuff? Or, city officials? I think you would be surprised at how easy it is to get in touch with people, especially on the state and city level. I mean, the smaller we're talking, like if you're going for like, is Millbury a city or a town? It's a town. So if you're going for town officials, I mean, you probably have like a select board and stuff. Your selectmen and I guess selectmen covers all genders, but if your selectmen are like probably looking to get as much attention as possible, right? They want this publicity and they want people in their community engaging with them. So reach out to them. If you're looking for someone at the state level, that's also not so hard. Look into your state reps. I find state reps are a lot more accessible than state senators because there are far more of them and their districts are smaller. So I don't know who your state rep is here in Millbury, but contact them. I bet they would probably love the camera time, the attention. But state senators are worth reaching out to as well. And especially if your story involves something like, say, in Chelsea where I was doing the Tobin Bridge, MassDOT, the Department of Transportation, is really, really important to that story. So I reached out to them and they gave me a statement. And it's really important to also give everyone a chance. If there's like two sides of an issue, right? Like say your story is that like a local business is polluting a river. I don't know. You want to talk to the people who are affected by that river being polluted, but also you want to give that business a chance to speak too. So definitely reach out to them, and if they don't respond, that's fine, because then you can say in your story, oh, we reached out to them and they didn't respond, or they didn't want to comment on this. And I think that speaks volumes in a lot of cases. But it's good to give them a chance, because you want to give everyone a chance to talk. Cool. I think, is that all the time we have? I mean, there's... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had till 10:30. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, let's go. Sorry. Hang on. What's up? Yes, I have been told that, actually. That's hilarious. I look like some guy from Smosh. I don't know. I had to look that up too. Apparently it was a YouTube channel, right? It was really big, like maybe 10 years ago. Is it what? I have no idea. I don't know who this is, but I've heard that before. I've definitely heard that. Yeah. It's the haircut, I guess. I don't know. The Justin Bieber circa 2011 haircut. But he abandoned this haircut. It's mine now. He goes back to it. I got copyright. Yeah. Can you take a picture with me? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. If that's all right with your teachers, definitely. What's up? The weirdest video? I did one... I'm trying to think of one that's like appropriate to show in a school setting. I last year at the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Southie, I decided I was just so done with like the whole thing and the interviews, and I didn't say a word in the video. I just like held up a sign, and while people around me were all freaking out, yelling, "Let's go!" and throwing things in the air, and so like that was fun to like actually do a news report without talking. I did a story one time which was awful, and no, I'm not going to show it, where I decided I was going to sing the whole thing instead of talking it. So I was like, I'm so tired of doing the same, talking, clip. What can I do to shake things up? What if I made a song and sung the whole story? And I can't sing at all. Like, I can play instruments fine, but I can't sing. And so that was a terrible idea. But I was glad I did it, because it kind of got me out of that funk and made the whole process fun again. I did one where, this was kind of like, I had this Easter egg the whole time. I went to a boat show in Boston so it's this big giant room where they have all these boats. And I was like, I'm not just gonna do a simple boat show interview where I interview people. I wanna actually have an Easter egg for people who are watching. And I told my friend to come with me, and I had him dress up as a pirate, and I had him in the background of every shot. So if you're paying attention, I actually do have that video. If you're paying attention, you'll see a guy in the background of just about every shot dressed up like a pirate. Let me see if I can find that one. Yep, here it is. But it's subtle, so. Right now there's one room in Boston with over 400 boats. You can freely climb on them and pretend to be rich for a while.
So where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Something yachty or?
Yeah, a little yachty. Gary Wabel is my tour guide here at the New England Boat Show.
Do you want to hop in the water while you're here? Do you want to hop aboard a yacht while you're here?
Yeah.
Do you want to like blast some music and dance on a boat while you're here?
Yes. It was sick. What does this button do? Sorry.
So it was you.
Most of these boats were nicer than my house. And the people were pretty nice too.
Oh, hey.
Hang out? Perfect.
I'm a water sign. I love the water.
That's Trevor, who drove all the way from Burlington, Vermont to make a big purchase.
These boats suck.
Why?
They're little lake boats. They're not what I'm into. I like big boats.
You cannot lie. He quickly took a liking to me.
I would take you to Vegas. 5 days for free. It's really deep, dude. Like, when you start thinking about it, life is short, life is sweet, life is good. 2 items. You're one of my besties.
So maybe I didn't leave with $1 million yacht. Friendship is priceless.
From the Boat Show, I'm Matt Shearer. For more, ask Alexa to play WBZ News Radio on iHeartRadio.
And so, the fun thing about that was, like, people in the comments, I obviously didn't address it the whole time, but people in the comments were being like, what's up with the pirate, and other people were being like, wait, what pirate? I didn't see a pirate. So they'd go and watch again, and like that got the views to go up and engagement and stuff, and it was just that again, making the process fun for myself. Not really, inspiring social change in any way, but it was a fun video, nevertheless. Yeah.
Have you ever come home like after an interview like super exhausted? What do you do to relax after like exerting so much energy?
Oh man, that's a tough one. So I have 2 little kids now. They're 5 and 2. So I don't know if I really get to relax. I mean, I play with them. It's fun, but no. Once they're finally in bed is when I get to relax. And I unwind with music. I'll play some my guitar, some my bass, play some video games. I go play basketball. I'll do some pickup basketball at the gym, stuff like that. I grew up skateboarding, so I don't do that as much anymore. But that was another thing that I would do to unwind for years when I would go home. So that was fun. Yeah. I wouldn't consider myself like a gamer per se, but like I've always been a Nintendo guy. So I love the Zelda games, the Mario games, stuff like that, Splatoon. But like I'll play the games that are cross-platform too. So like Rocket League, I'm big into, and any online player versus player type of game, I love. I have played Fortnite from time to time, not often, but what's up? Derek White? Oh, from Celtics, yeah, of course. I'm like, wait, we're talking about video games? I love Derek White. My favorite from that lineup is probably Jaylen Brown. Even though sometimes he forgets how to dribble in the paint, and especially in the playoffs, and that's frustrating. I loved the Baylor Shireman game last night. I don't know if any of you saw that. He had 20 points off the bench and like 3 steals. He was our first round draft pick, so he's like 20 years old. But yeah, Derek White's the man.